symptoms of material mode. What are the symptoms of person who is in rajoguna, in tamoguna and sattwaguna? Sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, O son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and at other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. Combination of all these modes are influencing us. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. When the mode of passion is prominent, the modes of goodness and ignorance is defeated. Same is the case with ignorance. When the ignorance is prominent, the influence of ignorance is prominent, the goodness, the sense of goodness a person has, and passion gets defeated. It overpowers. One can develop. This is what progressive life is all about. One can gradually, with practice, by following the principles, following the recommended process, one can come out of the influence of lower modes. The prominence of some certain mode of nature is manifested in one's dealings, in his activities, in his eating. Many years back, I had gone for some work to Hong Kong. And, when you travel, your eating thing gets affected to some extent. And when I came back, I could really sense, because there where I was staying, you have to manage with some makeshift arrangements because you don't have. So generally what we do is when we travel, we, pack something or try if we can manage with some fruits. Again, depends on how many days we travel, because you cannot be on fruits for 10 days at a stretch. So I remember, and it gets affected. You get affected by the environment, the situation, people whom you are dabbling with, all that. And because it was a long stay, it's difficult to manage. So, somebody had packed some pickles. And when I came back, I could sense that the desire, that inclination to have pickles increased drastically. You will also notice, it's a very fine thing, you will also notice, depending on what modes influencing us, your taste varies. If it is sattva-guna, you will like to eat a particular kind of foodstuffs. If it is rajoguna, it's another kind of masaledar, very fried, very this thing, chatka, they say, chatpata. And if it is in tamoguna, I think I've shared this. From Hong Kong, we went to China. So there was one place, that hotel, the USP of that hotel is everything is cooked fresh. And in China, you know what is cooked. So outside that hotel, there is, all kinds of reptiles, crabs, fishes, prawns, snakes, worms, all live, fresh. And morning, we just stepped out of our place where we were staying, so that hotel was there, and, three of us. At a distance, we are wondering, what are these people eating? I heard a saying that in China, whatever moves on the ground, except for, cabs and trains, they eat. Whatever moves in water, except submarines and ships, they eat. Whatever flies in the sky, except for airplanes, they eat. So, the person, he took out a snake, live snake. Somebody came in, the customer came in. So the USP is that, you can, as you enter the hotel, this thing, you can order what you want to eat. So you want to eat this crab, or you want to eat this prawns. So they will take out live, it's cooked fresh and served to you. So we were from a distance watching all this, and they took a snake. Somebody had ordered that snake. And the person maybe covered the face with some kind of a bag, and dum, dum, 2 times it did this thing. The snake got rattled and then chopped. Maybe that's the way of killing. I don't know. So we were watching and completely dazed. What's happening and what people are eating? Sometimes when you cook some vegetables, you get some worms, green worms. There was one tray full of those green worms, and all these worms are moving. And it seems it's a delicacy there, quite a costly dish. So we were watching, and from a distance, what all these people are doing, what all these people are eating. And this person who is dressing up the whole thing, who is preparing for cooking, so he's also watching us. And it went on for 5-10 minutes. And this person is not understanding as to why we are not entering the hotel and ordering something. Why are we just contemplating on what to eat and standing there and not able to take a decision? And after 5 minutes, he said, he basically was asking us, which one you want? That's the taste. That's the taste. What is so obnoxious for us, which we cannot even think of, is a delicacy for them. This reminds me of a story. Prabhupada, when he went to Burma, in Burma, there's a delicacy called nafi. You can check on the net. It's a very nice drink. I'll tell you how it is prepared. It's called nafi. So what happens is when person brings non-veg to their home, so not everything can be cooked, not everything is eaten. There are some parts of the, which cannot be cooked, intestines or maybe I don't know. So what they do is, instead of throwing away, those parts are taken and dropped in a jar, earthen jar, pitcher. And next day cooking happens. Every day they cook non-veg, so every day something gets deposited in that jar. And it keeps accumulating. And meat doesn't stay, it decomposes. So they keep adding, and it starts decomposing, decaying, and when it decays, all that liquid oozes out. After 3 or 4 months, they break open this jar, take out all that stuff, and strain that liquid, and that liquid is called nafi. And especially when the festivals happen, you invite the guests and all that, just like, you have this, after all, this wine also depends on how much time you have, how old it is. So 6 months old nafi, 1 year old nafi, and little sip by sip, it is served and they take. So that's the taste. So one day, in that temple in Burma, the devotees were there, Prabhupada. So they were cooking a feast, and they used on that particular day desi ghee, pure ghee. And when they were cooking puris in ghee, all these neighbors, what are you doing? What is this bad smell coming? They started complaining. For them, desi ghee is intolerable. Bad smell. Again, the influence of modes. What is obnoxious for one person is nectar for another person. What is nectar for one person is obnoxious for another person. What is night for a materialist is a day for a spiritualist. What is day for a spiritualist is a night for a materialist. And why so much variety? So much variety. Somebody is eating snakes, eating dogs. Influence of modes. That's the taste. That soul is under the spell of that modes. He's eating that raw, live octopus. You see sometimes it's very obnoxious, very difficult to see. Live octopus, it's served. They slit that thing, and you actually, with that spoon or fork, you actually scoop out and eat live. And these are all not story, it's happening. Octopus, live. Just slit that back portion, it's very delicate, and then you scoop out all that flesh part and eat it. There are people with that taste. Therefore, one who is actually intent in advancing in Krishna consciousness should strive to come out of the influence of these lower modes and transcend the modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. Krishna says this. All this thing is a game of three modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. You rise above the modes of material nature. By transcending the modes of goodness, one can be situated in pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. So you have Tamoguna, you have Rajoguna, you have Sattvaguna. Sattvaguna is a springboard for a person to jump to Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness, and that is Vishuddha Sattva. The manifestation of the modes of goodness can be experienced when all gates of the body are illuminated with knowledge. There are 9 gates in the body. 9 gates. Anyone can help me with what are the gates? What are the 9 dwara? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 6. Mouth, anus and genitals. 9 gates of this body. When all the gates are illuminated with knowledge, these gates dwell on the right things. In every gate, when the symptom of goodness is illuminated, one sees, hears, tastes the right thing. Depending on the influence of modes, our taste varies. When I was staying outside, before joining the temple, I think shared last session, I was staying with my relatives and my cousin sister. She somehow, because of her company in school, she was studying in a Bishop Cotton school, and because of the company and whatever the kind of friend circle, she started eating non-veg, started liking non-veg, and she would pester the mother, "Ghar mein bhi lana hai," and all that thing. And I could see that what she likes eating, and we were together. I mean, I was staying with them and spending a lot of time with them and all that. I could see that more and more, because I was into Krishna consciousness, more and more we are digressing as far as our tastes are concerned. What she wants me to eat, I don't like. What I like eating, she doesn't like. When I would be coming back home, I would say, tender coconuts. We'll have tender coconut. Nahi bhaiya, maja nahi. Tender coconut is not taste for her. So this is the influence of mode. It influences our eating, the way we think, thinking, feeling, willing, it influences. One becomes cleansed inside and outside when one transcends the mode. The gate is illuminated with knowledge. In every gate, there is development of symptom of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. O chief of Bharatas, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptom of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develops. When there's an increase of influence of passion, what will happen? The symptoms are great attachment, uncontrollable desire. Jab tak nahi mile, I cannot be happy. I cannot just be happy. I want this, come what may, hook or crook. Mujhe chahiye. I'll do anything to get that. There are people with that kind of a desire. And for some petty gains, okay, could be some genuine thing, makes sense, but for some petty, come what may, I want this. That's how you have sometimes even brothers, court cases, things falling apart in the family. Uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develops. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied. This is a symptom. It's never satisfied. Hope, chase, intense endeavor, get, indulge, and fulfillment is missing. It's always hoping, chasing, capturing, indulging. Life is all about that. So if you have intense desires, and one gets into all kinds of nefarious habits. If he wants to construct a residential house, he wants to build a palatial house as if he's going to stay there for eternity. A person in knowledge in Sattva-guna, he knows that yes, house is required, a decent house is required, a comfortable house is required. And whatever is required, he will build. As he develops a great hankering for sense satisfaction and increasing sense gratification becomes the goal. A bigger house, a better desire, better way of fulfilling the senses becomes the goal. That's the symptom of Rajoguna. While we were talking this, a lot of people say, आप तो ये बोल रहे हो कि रजोगुणा है, intense desire है, and then attraction between man and woman is a symptom of this. But Krishna ने भी तो बहुत शादियां की थी. When I was new to Krishna consciousness, this was the biggest problem which I faced when I was, trying to convince others about Krishna consciousness. वो सब ठीक है, लेकिन आपके कृष्ण आप बोलते हो ये सब है, कंट्रोल करना है सेंसेस. आपके कृष्णा ने भी तो 1600 शादियां की थी, 16,000 wives. What is the answer for that? Then some people say, that he should walk the talk. बोलते तो बहुत हैं, कंट्रोल करो, but then why did he marry so many? So the answer is, some of you may be aware, some of you may not be aware. There was a demon by name Bhaumasura. He actually captured 16,108 princesses and imprisoned them, kept them with him in a fort. And these princesses, they were quite great devotees of the Lord, and they prayed to the Lord, please come and save us. Please take us out, rescue us from this captivity. And Lord, who's all powerful, he did actually go and kill the demon Bhaumasura and rescued them. In Vedic times, unlike present times, the girls, because it was chastity was a very important thing. These days, it's relatively a very free society now. Especially now, you see 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, we see everyone moving around. So in earlier times, a girl who has stayed out of the house, captive with someone else, nobody would marry. It was unchaste. We are not going into merits now. We are not going to discuss into why it was considered and things like that. So then, when Krishna rescued them, he says, now you go back home. Be with your parents. He says, no, now nobody will accept us. We can't get married. Even our parents won't accept us. Because 2 days they were captive with Bhaumasura. So then Krishna says, what do you want? He says, we want you as our husband. We want you to marry us. So now Krishna, sometimes he being the Lord, for him it's not a big thing to, these days, one wife, one has to think 10 times. So for him it's not a difficult thing. So, okay, they were intensely desiring, praying for him to marry them. So he married. And for each one of them, he made a separate palace. It's not that each one has to wait for 16,107 nights for him to visit and be with them. He made 16,108 palaces and expanded himself into 16,108 forms. And he was there personally present in each palace with each wife. That is the omnipotency of the Lord. So it is not, that's why it is said we have to understand all this from the right sources. It is not that out of lust, out of the great desire that I will enjoy 16,108 wives, therefore I marry so many times. His devotees who were ardently praying for him to rescue and have him as their husband, okay, please come. He being omnipotent, he can do that. O son of Kunti, when there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, this is a symptom. Madness, illusion, inertia, darkness are manifested. So in In Rajoguna we saw the symptoms are great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering and intense endeavor. Very passionate. Always wanting, working hard with no knowledge. And what is the symptom of tamoguna? When there is increase in mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia. Inertia means indolence, no desire for doing anything. It could equate with so-called depression people talk about. No desire to do anything. And darkness is manifested. One wants to act whimsically and for no purpose. And many times people say ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss, it's dangerous. It's bliss, maybe for a moment, but I sometimes give this example. A person who is completely drunk, for him to cross the road and not meet with an accident, there's a possibility. He's completely drunk and trying to cross. Quite possible all the vehicles moving, the drivers may be more alert and they may stop and make him leave. But the chances of probability of he meeting with an accident is much higher. So a person who is in ignorance, for him to mess up his life is much higher, relatively speaking, to a person in passion. Even though he has capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. He likes sleeping. He doesn't want to take any initiative. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attained to pure higher planets. In the material world also, there are higher planets, there are lower planets, and they are just like even in this planet Earth, we have countries which are much more, so to say, prosperous, and the countries who are much more degraded or in the sense less advanced. So likewise, when a person who dies in the mode of goodness, predominantly in goodness, his destination is something else. He goes to the planets where predominantly sattvic people stay. One in goodness attain higher planetary system like Brahmaloka or Janaloka and there enjoy godly happiness. Those who die in mode of goodness are elevated to planets where great sages and great devotees live. So we'll stop here. Anyone has any question? Anything based on? Yes. So one point, quite possible that I'm not aware of this story. One thing is about the Lord, not everything what we speak will satisfy people. Many times it is not our arguments, it is not our logic, it is not what we are speaking. It also depends on where that person is situated. A person who is not in proper consciousness will always be blasphemous. There are people like that. Again, with due respect to what you said, we can try our best to present it in the best possible way, but there is no one explanation which will completely satisfy them. Again, the influence of modes. A person who is deep in tamoguna, he will rebel. Now you see, with respect to, let's say, eating non-veg, again, a person's taste, he's such lower consciousness. You may even give logic, you may even give best explanation, you give scientific explanation, medical explanation. Person cannot. May not be problem with the explanation, may not be problem with the logic. Problem is what consciousness the person is situated. But still, in that we can do the best we can. But there is no one right explanation which will completely satisfy them. So degradation, what the Lord, when He says that, the question is, it's a good question. The question is, even at times we see of great devotees, towards the end, last stages, they're going through some circumstances, very unfavorable circumstances. So why did the Lord sanction that? Yeah. Srila Prabhupada, towards his last days in 1977, he was in Vrindavan. And, his health was deteriorating day by day, physical health. He in fact, all his organs were started, one by one failing. And some treatment was going on, but then it was very obvious that his health is deteriorating. Organs were failing. And he was on the bed lying. But till the last date, we have videos on that. There's a video called The Final Lesson. Maybe we can check on the net if it's available. Otherwise, we'll show sometime here. Till the last date, the body is in pain. Organs are failing. You're not able to eat and all those things. But you will see his consciousness is crystal clear. Till the last date, till the last day of his departure, is dictating the Bhakti Vedanta purpose. So what the Lord protects in case of devotees is not because the body today or tomorrow it has to deteriorate, and it's not that person is devotee, he will not become old, he will not become diseased. He will. The nature's law will act. But what the Lord protects is the consciousness. Because it is not that we should also not have false expectation that now I am a devotee so diseases won't come. As per the law of nature, it will come. But what is real protection? Sometimes we also worry, I am going to the temple, I am doing this, I am also chanting, but my health has started deteriorating. Why it is like that? Because physical health beyond a point, okay, we can just delay the whole process. A person has to die at the age of 80, maybe with all good care of the health, you can at best stretch to 100 years or 110 years, maybe. But anyway, the decay has to happen. Any material thing goes through 6 transformations. Decay and finally disease is part of the whole process. What the Lord protects is not in illusion, He protects the body. Because our idea of protection is the body, which anyway cannot be protected. What the Lord is really interested in protecting and which He promises He will protect for the devotees is His consciousness. That consciousness which can go into the spell of what we talked about, tamoguna, indolence, madness, illusion, He protects from that. And that is real protection. So we have great devotees, like I gave example of Prabhupada. Last day, all organs are failing. Body is in extreme pain, called medically. But his consciousness is pristine. Clear Krishna conscious. You should see that video to believe it. Everything is moving because of the presence of Lord Sri Krishna. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Yes. Who decides which modes will influence us? We. We attract the modes and the modes influence us. So it goes in a cycle. Based on our thinking, feeling and willing, we attract the modes and the modes influence us. So we, wrong actions, do wrong things, attract wrong modes, and wrong modes influence us to do wrong things. It's a negative cycle. Yeah, our thinking, feeling and willing. Now, for example, you're going in a flight. You are going in a flight. The air hostess will come, sir, veg or non-veg. You have a choice. You choose. You choose. Based on the choice, it will attract different modes. So you make a choice. The choices trigger the modes, and the modes in turn triggers your choices. So it goes in a cycle. Now, somebody, wrong circumstances, you have made wrong choices in the past, got influenced by wrong modes, wrong circumstances, and those circumstances have become so overwhelming now, that is, I have no choice. I'm stuck. Bandhana. So, real advancement is we reverse that. By the instructions of great acharyas, we learn to make the right choices. What to eat, what not to eat. What to do, what not to do. What to hear, what not to hear. What to see, what not to see. What to drink, what not to drink. What to eat, what not to eat. Because all these choices are influencing the modes. You eat very tamasic thing, it will induce tamoguna. And tamoguna will trigger to eat more tamasic thing and do tamasic activity. You eat sattvic ahar, it will invoke sattva-guna. And sattva-guna will trigger you to do more sattvic activities. That's why Krishna extensively talks about these modes. He talks about food in the mode of goodness, food in the mode of passion, food in the mode of ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness, charity in the mode of passion, charity in the mode of ignorance. There is charity in the mode of ignorance. There is charity in the mode of passion. There is charity in the mode of goodness. And there is Shuddha Sattva. Giving to a devotee of Krishna for spread of Krishna consciousness is Shuddha Sattva charity. Giving to a wrong person with the wrong intent for the wrong, objective, it's charity in the mode of ignorance. Is it clear? So because of us, we have triggered all these modes, and that's how there's so much of difference. Krishna is samoham sarva bhutesh, I'm equal to everyone. Somebody is 99% tamoguna, 0.5% sattva-guna, 0.5% tamoguna. Somebody is 99% sattva-guna, we have chosen. And human life with chanting, reading, hearing, eating the right food, we are elevating, coming out of lower modes. That is purification. That's why there is so much of regulations, do's and don'ts, so that we come out of the grip of these spell of these lower modes. Any other question? Is there Kali Yuga there? You're asking there. In this universe, Kali Yuga is there. These yugas are as per the universe.